Ahead of a meeting with Danish and Greenlandic officials, Donald Trump has issued a new warning that raises the stakes over the future of the Arctic island. On January 14, Trump said U.S. control of Greenland is vital for America's national security, explicitly tying the island to his broader defense vision. Trump linked Greenland to his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system, suggesting it would be a key geographic pillar of that shield. In a Truth Social post, the president said the island is critical for U.S. air defense and Arctic defense, framing it as a strategic necessity. Trump said, and I quote, "The United States needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It is vital for the Golden Dome that we are building. If we don't, Russia or China will, and that is not going to happen. Militarily, without the vast power of the United States, much of which I built during my first term, and am now bringing to a new and even higher level, NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent, not even close. They know that, and so do I. NATO becomes far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Anything less than that is unacceptable." Unquote. This comes as Danish and Greenlandic ministers are set to meet U.S. officials in Washington on January 14 for tense talks. Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Rasmussen will lead discussions with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance. Greenland's Foreign Minister Vivian Motzfeldt will also join the high-stakes meeting, representing Nuuk's position. The visit comes despite what officials describe as collective opposition, in both Copenhagen and Nuuk, to any U.S. takeover of Greenland. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has warned that an attack on NATO territory would stop everything, including alliance operations. Frederiksen said NATO and the post-World War II security structures would collapse if Greenland is hit or seized by force. Meanwhile, Greenland's Prime Minister has stressed that the island does not want to be owned by the United States and values self-determination.
First of all, I would like to reiterate, Greenland is not for sale. Today we have discussed our cooperation between Greenland and Denmark. I must emphasize that Greenland is part of the kingdom. We are a constitutional state based on democratic values, and we have self-government under the Kingdom of Denmark. The situation is very, very, very serious, and the geopolitical interests have put a huge amount of pressure on our country and its people. Greenland does not want to be owned by the USA. Greenland does not want to be governed by the USA. Greenland will not be part of the USA. We choose the Greenland we know today, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Now we are faced with geopolitical crisis, and if we have to choose between the USA and Denmark here and now, we choose Denmark. We choose NATO. We choose the Kingdom of Denmark. We choose the EU. This is not the time for internal discussions and division. This is the time to stand together and build on the community we know and we want.
All 5 parties in Greenland's parliament rejected any U.S. takeover in a rare joint statement of united opposition. Rasmussen said the aim of the Washington meeting is to cool tensions by speaking face-to-face and clarifying red lines. Trump's renewed Greenland push has sparked sharp concern across Europe and within NATO member states that fear alliance rupture. France has warned of unprecedented fallout if the U.S. were to seize Greenland from Denmark against Copenhagen's will. President Emmanuel Macron reportedly said that any hit to an ally's sovereignty would have cascading effects across the security system. Paris has declared it stands in full solidarity with Denmark and its sovereignty over Greenland and its territories. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen has also insisted that the Arctic island belongs to its people, underscoring support for Greenland.
I want to put all this aside and address the general principle of Greenland, that we look at what are the different debates. So first of all, Greenland belongs to its people. So it's up to Denmark and Greenland, and only to them, to decide on matters that are concerning Denmark and Greenland. That's point number one, and that's very important. We are in constant contact with the Danish government also to listen to what the needs are, what the needs of the Greenlanders are, in very close contact. Second, Greenland is part of NATO. And when we are speaking about Arctic security, this is one of the core topics of NATO. And we know that the glue between the allies is the fact that there's always the clear motto, one for all for one. So NATO is one forum to integrate the different interests that are out there. But of course, the Arctic and Arctic security is also a matter for the European Union without any question. And we've invested since years in our relationship with Greenland. I was there last year, before all this happened, to open the office in Nuuk so that we have a constant channel of communication with the Greenlanders. We have an investment program. We've stepped up our engagement since last year. We have accelerated our work. So there's a strong and good and existing relationship between the European Union and the Greenlanders. And for me, it's important that the Greenlanders know, and they know this by the deeds, not only by the words, that we respect the wishes of the Greenlanders and their interests, and that they can count on us.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.